Hey everybody! Hey Colin! Joy here. It is about 10:30 on Saturday, September 4, 2022. And I guess you've noticed I haven't been around lately. We've been down to our not so favorite place that I call Nervous, NIRVC, National Indoor RV Center in Louisville, Texas. We've been there again. We got an email last week showing us a tech report. Oh, my little screw, hold on. I'm going to tell you something about this in a minute. Don't you hate the way the little screws always fall out of the back of your sewing machine feet? Yeah, we got an email. And it showed that one of the things they said wasn't broken. Another thing they said wasn't broken. The fan up in the roof they said was broken. They fixed it. Then it was supposed to be painted, so it was in the paint. And so it said the paint was done. And it said that the motors for the awnings, it said that it was going to take, it took 2 men and it took so many hours and it took so much money, blah, blah, blah. So Jerry and I thought, yay, it's ready, let's go pick it up. So we went down there to pick it up and we found out they hadn't even started on what we took it down there for, the awning motors. The motors have been sitting there in their shop for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we went down there to pick it up. It'd been there 8 days when we got there, 8 days. And so we hear from our service representative that they're waiting for some man to show up to say they can fix the motors for the awnings. They're waiting for someone to say they can fix it. He's supposed to have 72 hours to show up. Now, I don't know about y'all, but in 8 days, would you say that was more than 72 hours? I could be wrong. 24 hours in a day. 2 days would be 48. 3 days, wouldn't that be 72? 3 fours are 12. 3 twos are 6. Plus 1. 72 hours. It'd been there 8 days, my friends. It was there 10 days as of yesterday, and the man still had not shown up. So we came back home. We had to leave our RV down there and come back home. The paint was messed up. They didn't do a good job on the paint. It was really bad on one of the doors. So they had to take it back to do that. And now we're still waiting for a 72-hour man to show up in 72 days or whatever that's about. So we've been a little bit stressed. So anyway, we came back home. We got home yesterday afternoon. But also, while we were gone, you might remember, for my sewing machine friends out there, you know I have several Bernhardt sewing machines. Most of them are as old as your kids. But one of my older ones broke, and when I would move the needle position over, I would start to sew and the needle would just pop back in the middle. And I'd move it over again, start to sew, it just pop back in the middle. So I took it to them last trip down to Louisville because they're like 20 minutes from each other, the sewing machine store and the RV store. They're about 20 minutes away from each other. So I took it down there, left it. The next time we went down, I picked it up, brought it back home, tried to sew on it last week on the private project. And it would not sew a stitch. It would sew, skip. Sew, skip. Sew, skip. I tried cotton, it did it. I tried knit, and it did it. I tried 4 different needles, and it did it. Sew, skip. Sew, skip. Now, it never did that. I've had it for years and years and years and years. I bought that over 10 years ago, maybe 15. It's never skipped a stitch in its whole entire life. It's called, it's a real strange one that they had, called Virtuosa 155. That's what model it is. So, I was very upset. Had to just go and change to a different sewing machine. So I took it, I called them up and they said, oh, bring it, just come on, bring it here and we'll look at it right away. I said, I'm over 100 miles away from you people. So anyway, we went down there, we stopped there first, took the machine in, the tech came over to look at it, and you all will not believe what he said was the problem. You tell me, ladies out there that sew, men out there that sew, you tell me if anybody has ever told you this before about one of your sewing machines. Any brand, any denomination, any flavor. Tell me if anybody has ever told you this. I'm going to show you this foot. This foot is called an open toe foot, an open toe embroidery foot. On a Bernina, it's a number 20. I can't get it to focus on the 20. You'll have to take my word for it. But it's an open toe foot because it allows you to see what you're doing. Nothing's covering up where the needle's sewing, so you can see it. This is my favorite foot. I love this foot. I use it all the time when I put a hem in. Love it. Love it when I do embroidery stitches. Just love this foot. So this repairman told me it was because of this foot. He said, it's that foot you got on there. You need to use another foot. I said, excuse me? We were at the front desk and everybody that worked there could hear me and could hear him. And I said, that is crazy. I said, I have never heard anything like that in all the years I've been sewing. I said, these feet that cost $35, $40. And I said, why would Bernina make them? Why would they teach you how to use them? Why would they promote them if every time you sew with them they're going to skip stitches? I mean, it's just nuts. Just nuts. I didn't say he was nuts, okay? But I sure thought it. I thought, I'm sitting thinking, I'm never bringing a machine here again. I will find another dealer somewhere. This is just insane. In fact, I'm going to call John Ramsey in Oklahoma City and ask him if he's ever heard of anything so nutty in his life. He owns Bernina in Oklahoma City. We know him really good because I bought my very first machine in 1986 from his father. His father and his mother owned the first store, and he worked for them way back then, you know, when he was young and everything. So we've known him for 1,000 years. So the repairman said, well, I noticed on the bottom of your foot it was getting a little bit worn out, so I sanded it. Right. Take something worn out and sand it down even worse. So I said, give me a new foot. I'll buy. I said, do you have this foot here in the store? I'll just buy a new one. I don't even know how much it cost. Jerry paid him. And the lady said, do you want me to get rid of that one? I said, yes. So she threw it away. So this is my brand new one. I came home yesterday afternoon. As soon as we got the Jeep unloaded, the first thing I did was hook up this Virtuosa 155 and sew with it. It has not skipped a stitch. Now, he did do another thing. When I started complaining and saying, this is just crazy, nuts, that can't be the reason, he said, well, I did do a slight adjustment. He said the position between this and this was a couple zillionths of a millimeter off or something, and he said, I adjusted that a little bit. Well, obviously, that was the problem, and because it's sewn fine with this foot since I brought it home. So, I would recommend that if you find a technician somewhere that tells you your machine isn't sewing right because of the foot, unless you're using a foot from the wrong machine, I'd say find another service tech, and I am going to. There's one in Denton, Texas, and we can go to this RV place past Denton. In fact, that's the way we can go two ways. One way goes to Plano, one way goes to Denton, and so we'll just go through the Denton way, and I'm going to try that store there, because I'm not taking my machines back to this place. So that's one thing I was doing while you haven't seen me. And then we were there dealing with this little service rep she looks like a little teenage girl and should be going to school. But I've been super, super nice to her, trying to get her to be more responsive to us. Because if you complain to her, she gets very, very mad, and she's extremely offended. How dare you act like I'm at fault here? You know, these young people, none of them are ever at fault. So I've been complimenting her and telling her how amazing she is and how fortunate we are that we have her, and how happy I am that she stays there and she hasn't left because they've lost a lot of people. And so she actually came herself to our RV yesterday and saw with her own eyes what the issues were, and that these things really were broken. But now we have to wait for 72-hour man to show up to get those fixed. So you gotta scream to keep from crying. So I don't know when that's gonna happen. It's a long weekend. I mean, they won't even be back at work till next Tuesday. So one day at a time. That's what you got to do, my friends. One day I told my friend Viv, I said, boy, I tell you, I'm doing good 1 hour at a time these days. Never mind 1 day at a time. So that's where I've been. I'm back. I'm still working on the private project, step 2. And I can't wait to show it to everybody, to everybody, but you'll just have to wait. Jerry's birthday is September 30, and we're actually going out of town probably on the 29th because I've got a class that I paid $400 for, and it's at a lady's house. I guess it's in her sewing quilt studio, and she lives in McAlester, Oklahoma. So we are going to stay at some RV place there. And I don't know what Jerry's going to do all day, but I'm going to go and take that class. It's just, is it 2 days? 3 days? I don't even know how many days it is. I think it's a Saturday and a Sunday, and I don't like to do things on a Sunday, but the way we go to church, you know, online, we can always watch the sermon the next day or that night or something. So it'll be another month before you all see it, but you will definitely see it close up, stitch by stitch. I can tell you all the many problems I've had with the vinyl. I have found out, and you probably could have told me, all vinyl products are not created equal. I had one so thick the other day, I could not get it to stay, to glue. And I even have the great big machine, you know, the big Cricut machine the great big square iron that you hold down. It just would not stick. And so part of it was stuck, part of it wasn't. So my lightning fast mind, I thought, I'm going to turn this upside down on the ironing board, and I'm going to press it from the back. It even says to do that in the directions if, you know, can't get it to stick. So I turned it upside down and put it on the ironing board to press it, and something in the ironing board, you know, it's made up of metal strips underneath. Something in the ironing board pressed into the vinyl and left an impression in it. Oh, I was so upset. And you cannot iron it out. You cannot pray it out. You cannot scream it out. You believe me. So that's a failed project right there, and we're starting on another one. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to do that today, since it's a Saturday. Okay, my friends, I think that's all I have to tell you. When I'm looking at you in the camera, it looks like it's really dark here, and it's really light over here. I'm going to see if I can fix that. No, look, I have 2 lights exactly the same. One is here. One is here. I don't understand why it's dark on this side and light on this side. Maybe it's because of that window. Let me see if I can get that window out of here. I know this is exhilarating for everyone. How's that? Am I any more lit up? You know, I found this button. What do you call those things you press on in your software? I found one, you know, my lightning fast mind. I found one that said lighting. I found it, I was doing Jerry on Sunday school, probably a couple months ago. And I saw this button that said lighting, and I thought, I wonder what that button does. And so I clicked on it, and it opens up, and you have like 9 different choices you can choose. And so I'm going to push on that button, and so by the time you see this, there'll probably be plenty of light in it. But I am super disappointed in these lights I bought, because they do not work well at all, and they were not cheap. So I'm not, you know, I'm into sewing and I'm into quilting and cooking. Y'all don't know me about cooking though. And jewelry making. How do you like my yellow and blue? And I don't know anything about photography actually. I know, and you're going, finally, George, finally she's figured it out. Yeah. Okay, dear ones, I'm going to let you go for now. I just wanted to say hi. I'm sorry I haven't been around, but I must get back to part 2 of the private project. Okay? I'll be back when I can talk to you and he's not in the house. How about that? Bye for now.